12:05, I think we should get started here. Thank you for coming today. We have people in attendance, and then also there is a live stream going on, so some people are cozy at their desk following along today. My name is Brandon. I am the rep for Montana, state of Montana. I currently live in California. Outside of Los Angeles, I am also the rep for Southern California. So being the rep, really I'm here for support and training purposes in regard to your Lexis collection. Anytime you want to reach out to me, feel free. The law library has my contact information, and I'll likely be sending out a handout after this to the individual attendees here, hopefully the ones attending from via the net as well, because we're going to go over some tips and tricks and some sheets that I think will be helpful for you guys. This is Drinking from a Fire Hydrant is the title of this, CLE. Don't let that scare you away. Basic legal research in the age of technology. So we're going to be going over finding cases, finding codes, forms, briefs, all this different content that's out there floating around on the web somewhere or in the local law library, and how to access that, how to quickly find that material, quickly find what you're looking for. And across all jurisdictions as well. Sometimes we need to step outside of our state jurisdiction. The state bar number for this class is not yet available, so following this, please reach out to the law library. Someone there, Sarah or others, will be able to get you that number. And that's true for the people following along at home or from their office as well. And on that, I will get started. I'm going to take just a general hands up from the room. Have you guys seen Lexis Advance? Are you signed on to it? Yeah? There's a couple platforms out there, right? Older Lexis, classic Lexis. It's given a couple different names, Lexis.com, and Lexis Advance. Don't let the Advance fool you. It's not only meant for those people that are super advanced in their research. It's nothing to do with that. It's just a title. Lexis Advance, the platform, though, as we have up here, we're going to use to do some of this exploring on how to find state, local, federal cases, codes, primary, secondary, etc. Before I get started, so this is presentation style. We're on about 50 minutes now. We'll get you out of here by 1. If there are any questions, feel free to let me know. We could keep this open discussion if that's going to be more helpful for you. If you want me to review something additionally, or if there are any, on the other end, if there's any issues that you want to discuss, how can I do this better in terms of legal research? How can I find this better? How can I save time? Let me know. We can cover all of that today. So on that note, I'll get started. Today we're going to go over basic legal research. We'll start at the beginning. So in terms of Lexis Advance, how that is going to function, navigating through the product. And then we're going to get really heavy into doing specific searching. You don't want to pull material from across the whole world, different federal, state, practice areas, etc. You want to get that much more narrowed result list. So we're going to show how that is possible on online research. There's a lot of tools out there. This is just one of them. Google's getting into the game. Google Scholar, you have stuff out there. Obviously, Westlaw, Lexis, Walter Squiller, Bloomberg even. You have some big names in the business. So we're going to go over how to use online research, use these platforms to get you what you need. And I'll get started. Okay, so from the beginning, there's going to be a lot of in terms of 3. I think that's a good way for learning the powerful number 3. Navigating through 3 main pages. Homepage. So we're going to start your search from the beginning. can do a lot from the home page. Enter in search terms, find a citation, a source, look at your history, view any folders or alerts that you have created. All that can be done from the home page. Once you enter terms, I have a couple here we're just using for example purposes, child, best interest, custody. And I'm running a search. Now that leaves the home page. That brings you to a result page, and this is important when you're doing research online. You don't want everything that's out there based on your search terms that you put in. The default, what is showing up here is cases. A lot of cases out there with these terms. But there's also all kinds of other stuff available. You have statutes and legislation based on your terms. News, want to read a local newspaper out there on the terms that you searched. Jury instructions, maybe you're trying to find a pattern jury instruction for those terms. All of these categories are available to you based on that search you ran. The key is to break it down, and we're going to discuss various ways to do that. But always, particularly with Lexis Advance, always look to the left-hand side. That will break down your large list into a much smaller list. How can we break that down? Narrow within results. You could search specific terms, maybe more on an effectual basis here for the already legal terms that you put in. Break that down even further. That's going to search across the whole document. Your preferred court. So we can break that down on a state level all the way to your district. Federal. Again, you could keep breaking it down, Ninth Circuit, etc. Below that, we'll see various other ways to narrow those documents. Do you want a reported versus unreported case opinion? Do you care when this document, in this case, an opinion, was put online? Maybe there was an amendment to a statute. Your case is discussing that statute. Well, you want to make sure that you're not getting cases that discuss the older version of that statute. After when the amendment happened, for example, you can simply scroll a timeline and say I only want the cases that discuss the newer version of that statute after the amendment. Various ways to break down that very large list that you see here into just a smaller result list. And we're going to get back to this. But this is the result page, the middle. Thereafter, we're getting to the actual document. And that's going to be the final page of the three, your document view. Whether it's a case, whether it's a code, whether it's a news article, the document itself. All documents come from a source. That middle page is you're just breaking down the source content. And then you're selecting the document. That's it with Lexis Advance. Navigation, for navigation purposes, very easy. You shouldn't get lost throughout the realm of legal research. Trying to make it as easy as possible to navigate through. You might branch off one of these pages, right? We're on our document page. I might pull a Shepherd's report for that document. You're branching off it. But in general, 3 pages: home, result, document. Home page, result page, document page. Let me click to the top left here, Lexis Advanced Research. That will take me back to our home page. So in terms of 3, navigation, very simple. Let's now move to the search box where we start on the home page. Again, we're going to take this in terms of 3s. What can you do from that search box? Well, 3 different things. Enter terms like we just did. We put in those terms and get a whole bunch of stuff based on an algorithm that plays behind the scenes into this natural language search box. Now, on that note, when we put in terms, I just said natural language. That's a bunch of rules, a bunch of coding that's playing behind the scenes scenes to try to get you the best documents out there based on the terms you put in. Now you can also use terms and connectors like you're familiar with on the classic Lexis. The trick, or I guess the difference is you don't have to take one path or the other. You don't have to say, I'm going terms and connectors only, I'm going natural language only. With the new platforms out, you can do both of that in the search box at once. The search box will recognize terms and connectors that you put in. Knowing the terms and connectors is step one. That's one helpful sheet that we're going to send out. What are all those? And we'll go over a lot of examples today. That's going to give you a much smaller, refined, more relevant result list than just putting in a bunch of terms. So terms, that's one thing. Sources, that's another. When I say source searching from Lexis Advance, think of it like going to the library and pulling a book off the shelf. That's it. Type in the source, the book, and you get every document that's within that source and the option to search within that source. So terms, source searching. Finally, the third thing you can do from the search box, putting in a citation, right? We don't want to run a search per se. I want to look at a particular case. 2014, MT, 54. Again, the search box recognizes that I'm not searching three separate terms of 2014, MT, and 54. It's recognizing the citation 2014, MT, 54. So you're kind of getting rid of that middle page, the result page, right? It's going straight from your home page to your document view. That's pulling a document by citation. The key here is to have the proper citation format. If I'm missing 2014, for example, and I run my search, that's no longer a citation. Now the search box is thinking this is two different terms. MT, where that shows up in the document, and 54, where that shows up in the document. That's a very key thing to grasp there is search terms or citation are two completely separate things. If you're not putting in a citation, and every document has a citation, if you're not putting in that citation, it's running a search. One of two. Back home. Search box, terms, citation, source. And then now we're going to do some examples of that. But basic searching, basic functionality, home page, result page, document view, and then in terms of searching, terms, sources, citation. Are we good on the threes there? All right, no questions in the room. Smiling faces for those watching the office. Everyone is happy. Okay, now let's do some examples. So I did the one case citation. All right, let's do a statutory citation. MCA 46-23-216. And we'll run our search. Do we have a mix of civil and criminal in here? Okay, I'm going to step across both lines, so we'll do some criminal searches, civil, source searching, etc. All right. I put in a citation, MCA 46-23-216. That pulled the document. The official recognized citation is what you see here. 46-23-216, comma, space MCA. That's what we assign to each statute so that we know it's a citation. But what you see that I put in is not that. It's MCA 46-23216. The system knows variations. So even though I didn't get the exact perfect recognized citation format, I put it in a format that the system recognizes as a citation. Also very important, because just like we did before, if it's not in proper citation format, then you're running a search. Let's get rid of MCA and do that same search. Right? No longer does it pull up that document because this is not a citation. There's 46-23, there's numbers throughout documents across the whole nation, across the whole world. So it doesn't know, the search box doesn't know you're trying to pull a specific Montana code annotated citation. Now you can do variations. Let's try one other one now that I see this. MONT code ANN 4623216. Let's try that. Recognize variation. This is the default. You can always type it in like that. But know that there's variations out there that if you type it in, it pulls the document still, regardless. That's true for any code across the U.S., news articles, jury instructions. As long as you get close enough to the citation, it'll recognize the variation and pull that document. MCA, that's the easiest. It's a good one to remember. You can put it first. That will get you your statutes. Okay, so citation searching. The cases are easy, right? Cases are easy. Statutes, make sure you have MCA. Now with terms. The terms I put in before, well, let's do some new ones. I'm going to do DUI. Prior. Suspended license. 4 different terms there, right? And then now let me run my search. Note that I'm searching everything. We're going to discuss ways to narrow that down. But off the bat, I'm searching everything. It's giving me all jurisdictions and all content types. So we have DUI, prior suspended license, 2,500 roughly cases in Montana, around 31,000 federal. And then we could break down this number. But that's a lot to deal with. Note that at the top, we're getting the more popular cases. Again, it's going to depend where you're filtered. But that's because all of these searches are by relevance. That's natural language in a nutshell. How many times the terms are in the document? How close are they together? The proximity of the terms with one another. How popular is this case? Has it been cited to more than other cases that have these terms? That's 3 of about 84 rules that play into natural language. How do we get these documents? Another rule is variations. So I put in DUI, right? But look, it's giving me driving under the influence. Variations. Another rule, natural language. We kind of discussed that in the red search box with statutes. We'll give you the plural of a term. That's a variation. All of that stuff based on the terms we put in. So the nice thing is it's trying to read our mind to get everything that's out there. The caveat, though, is you have a really long list, right? 31,000 documents. Do you really, in federal court, in all the state courts, 178,000. Do you really want to go through that list? No. I'll answer that for you. We don't want to go through that whole list. Using terms and connectors that we discussed at the beginning is a great way to narrow online, when you're pulling documents, to narrow that result list. And what that is doing is controlling the natural language. So behind the scenes here, those rules are being played. One of them is putting ors in between uncommon terms. The system doesn't know what ones you want in the document. You're not telling the system, I want all of these terms in each document. It's not that smart. So uncommon terms, it might give you one term or the other. Again, towards the top of that list, you're going to have all of them. Relevancy. Towards the bottom of that list, maybe case number 30,100, that might be just the term license in it, maybe. So, terms and connectors. You can control using terms and connectors. This is how I'm going to control. I'm going to put an and in between each word or phrase that I want in my document. DUI, I want that in there. And prior, I want that term in there. And suspended license, it's a legal phrase. I want that in there. I'm going to give some leeway here. So let's run this search. Well, this is telling the system now, I want 3 specific terms for sure, no matter what in the document. DUI, prior, and a combination of suspended license. Likely that'll be one term. And now let's run our search. It's better, right? 2,500 Montana to 100 just by using ands. Got rid of about 77,000 federal cases. A lot better. We still have a lot of digging to do here. I'm sure once we get into the state that we want, and then the specific court that we want, and then do reported versus unreported. Now we're getting a much easier list to work with, right? But that all started with terms and connectors. Note that your search box moves up, so you always have that available. But that all started with terms and connectors. Just by telling the system, we want those 3 phrases or words in every document that we pull. Now, and is the big one. Because of the technology, you can use and or the ampersand. Can't do that on classic Lexis. That's a little too much for the system. So, and or ampersand. Or, as we brought up earlier, if you want to control the system, say, well, I don't care if suspended or license is in there. Either one of those terms, put an or in between. That will tell the system, well, one of those has to be in there. Oh, it could be either one or both. Now, another very popular one, /number. /number. You don't need the W anymore. /number says, I want, let's do a couple of them. DUI within 5 words of prior, prior within 5 words of suspended license. /number. That's the number of words, so we're limiting the proximity of your terms. Note that this can be before or after. DUI could be 5 before prior, could be 5 after prior. Either one. If you wanted to even more so control the system, well, I want this term before this term, you can do that. Pre/number. I don't know how many numbers you could go to. I went up to 100. I wouldn't, I don't know. I don't think there's a limit, but any number is going to be that many times the terms are located within each other from one to the next. Okay. / and the number. Note that you can also do S or P. You guys know what that means? Yeah. I think what you just said is both is correct. Okay, sentence or paragraph. Yeah. It's the same as before. But if you didn't know how that is defined, which is true before now, a sentence is not really a sentence, and a paragraph is not really a paragraph. When you do searching with natural language, Google, etc., Amazon, line spacing, commas, capitalization, not really judged. It's not taken into account. So, what is a paragraph? Well, it's defined. One code is P equals 75 words. Same thing. Sentence, what is that? Well, that's 25 words. So if you ever done search in the past and you're like, wait, there's a period in between here. It's not the same sentence. Because it never really existed in the first place. It was defined. A sentence is 25 words. The definitions could vary between search algorithms, but they're pretty similar. Okay. Another popular one is if you don't want variations. Suspended license. You want that exact phrase in the opinion. Quotes. We all know quotes. That takes away any possibility of a variation. So, if some of these documents that we have here have suspended and license separated within the document, quotes will ensure that they're no longer separated. Those two terms will be together. Also, we talked about variations. We're going to pluralize every term almost. DUI will spell it out for you, driving under the influence. Driving while impaired. You're going to get those variations. Quotes will take those away. No more variations. Quotes is very powerful for exact phrase. And then one final one. This is not the all-encompassing list of terms and connectors. I could send that out so you have it, but these are the main ones. Explanation point. Prefix of a word or the beginning, even if it's not a prefix, the beginning of a word, and then explanation point will give you all variations of what can be spelled out thereafter. Licensing, license, licensed, right? Explanation point, anything that can be created thereafter. Use an explanation point. Now we saw you're getting variations anyways, so a lot of times natural language will pick that up, but here you're overriding the system. You're telling it what to do. Okay, back to the beginning. So we looked at some citations and some citation variations. Terms, with or without terms and connectors. Finally, that last number 3, source, right? Pull the book off the bookshelf. Montana Code annotated. I want to look within our statutes. I have my search terms. I don't care about a case. I don't care about a jury instruction. I want to see where these terms are showing up in statutes. Okay, that's a common research task. Well, as you can see, any code, in this case a code, any terms or source title that I type in the search box will auto-populate that source. These are all the ones with some variation of Montana code. Doesn't have to be the exact name. We should all be familiar now that variations are accepted. You get close enough, put in the source title, that source auto-populates. And there's 2 things you can do from here. We found the book we wanted. We can either click on the magnifying glass to search within that book now, whatever I put in the search box, we could use those same terms, DUI, suspended license. The terms I put in, no longer am I searching everything, cases, codes, secondary, federal, state. Now, I'm only looking within that source. And run the search. So that's a source search. Now we're breaking it down, just like we did before. Alternatively, if you type in a source, clicking on the title will take you to the table of contents. I don't know if it's 50-50, but somewhere around there. Some people prefer, when you pull a source, to look at the table of contents. Eyes are more comfortable opening, kind of opening the book, seeing the different titles and the chapters, and then getting into the actual sections thereafter. What do you like more? It's up to you. Table of contents search. So you can get into the table of contents and read it out by expanding these carets here, right? Flipping through the book to get to your particular document. Or you could search the entire source at once. Put the source in the search box, look at everything that's out there. Note that table of contents that we just looked at, for all of your code sections, really any source that you're looking at as a table of contents, that's tucked away here, right to the left, always. This gives you a really good view of surrounding sections, surrounding chapters, and you can choose to leave this open or closed. You can always book browse, previous, next, right? Go one by one. But don't forget, table of contents. That's always available. And if you view full, it's just going to take you right back to where you left off. The online legal research is trying to speed up what you've done in the past. A lot of it is just time saving. That's the point. And we could do it with added technology these days. All right, bottom right-hand corner. This is a long document. I'm going to scroll back up. You'll always see that. And I'll go back to my own page. Any questions at this point? We did navigation and functionality basics, right, for online legal research. Home page, result page, document, and then term, source, citation, and the different ways to manipulate term, source, and citation. I pause for questions. Okay, there are no questions. All right, let's get a little deeper. When I first ran my search, I'm looking at the entire nation. Federal, state, territories, tribal, across all jurisdictions, all categories, all practice areas. That's just the default. Now, you guys all have your personal IDs. I'm not going to get into this for this session, but for all of these online research platforms, you can get into settings and make the system look how you want. I want to add preferred courts. I only look in Montana, so I want that to be my filter instead of everything. I don't want cases to come up first. I often search statutes. Statutes can be your default for what shows up first. I'd rather, when I run a search, have the newest stuff out there. Cases, newest available. What came out today? That's an option. The default's relevancy, how popular the case is. Yeah, so let me run a search, and we'll stick on that. So when you do run a search for all category types, which, like I just said, you can set any one of these as your default. It's possible. Cases is just the most common. These sorting options to the right, the default for all of them is going to be relevance. That's all natural language. However, relevance. However, you can choose what you want. So you can change that and have it be the default. A lot of people, we just built this in maybe late last year or early this year. Court highest, date newest. It's a good one. The courts use that one. All the courts that I venture in like to prefer to have that one set as their default. That's going to reach across your highest court first, Supreme Court, date, newest, oldest, then drop down, newest, oldest, etc. Okay, sorting options. Your views can be set. So, when I run a search, do I want every time within the document where my search terms show up, color-coded? Each term, individual color. Well, this is nice. So I can quickly read through, see the surrounding language, see the location and proximity of where my terms are. It's allowing me to read a lot of cases in a very short amount of time if that's what I have to do. I don't know any attorneys or judges or paralegals where that's not what they have to do, but you can, right? It's not giving you everything, but it's giving you a little bit more insight. Color coding terms, this is one of the features here, search term maps. You can have this as your default view. It probably is already set as your default view for a lot of you. Where are these terms showing up? How close are they together? Where are they at within the document? Are they in the dissent? I don't care. Opinion? I care more. That's one option. Another option, the classic view. Some parts of the document where some of the terms show up. Or very simply, I just want court date reporter. That's my view. Back full circle, there's a default look to these platforms, but you can make them your own. Other people like the default, but that's an option. So, the default for searching is everything. What we're going to do right now is look at ways to save some time here. If you're constantly looking at Montana cases in district court, we might not want to search everything every time. Maybe you're in federal pattern jury instructions often. Well, it's annoying to have to, it's time consuming to have to continually break down that material. When I did my initial search, I did a search everything and then I broke it down. Well, to save some time, I created favorites. These are things that, for purposes of today and this week as I travel throughout Montana, things that I'm using often. We already looked at the code. Missoulian. I want to read some news in Missoula. Municipal codes. You guys have a whole bunch of municipal codes available. So if you're doing that type of searching, cases that are published in Montana District Court, then instead of searching everything, I can search just within the thing I do most, my favorite. Right? Simple. DUI, suspended license in all my district court cases that are reported. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good segue. Let me finish this up and we'll get into that because both favorites and alerts are a very powerful, two powerful tools that you have available. So yes. Yes, you can set alerts on cases or codes or sources or search terms. DUI, I want to know everything, every time that comes up in a Montana case in district court in the first district. Send me an alert. You could do that. So for all of these favorites, alerts, folders, you see these icons here? You just click on them. And we'll do examples of all three. All right, so favorites, right? I only want to look within district court cases reported. I only want to look within my code. Montana and related federal. That's going to give me 9th Circuit District on up. Court of Appeal Supreme and state content. A newspaper, right? You can have anything you can think of as a favorite, and that's going to be your time saver. And so let's do that. Now, you're going to see that star scattered throughout Lexis. You click on it to make it a favorite. So where is it on this homepage? It's within your filter box right up top here. So let's just all, for purposes of training, when you get back, sign in under your ID and password. You can quickly expand the filter box, select a few different options out of here, jurisdiction, category, practice area, and then click on that star. That puts your favorite into that box. So you will see when you do that, your first favorite, state material in the state of Montana. It's going to be all of these content types, cases, codes, admin, administrative, jury instructions, but narrowed to your state. And so, every single day, if you don't want to look outside of Montana, you don't want to look at everything, well, that's just one click away to do that. Time saver, right? And you can combine as many as you want. Montana and related federal. Star. Maybe Montana cases within administrative law. Star. Mix and match as many as you want. That's within this. This is a limited filter box. Within this little limited filter box, that's where that star is located. One other thing here, let me clear this out. We discussed typing in a source, let's say our code annotated, and then clicking on the magnifying glass to basically put search terms in so we're only looking in that source, right? We discussed that. But we know now, if you expand that box, then now we can make any source a favorite. Click on the star, right? Type in the source title, magnifying glass, star. So it's kind of a trick, but any source that you use often that you want to search within, and again, you can combine sources. So maybe there's multiple criminal federal treatises out there that you use. Type in each one by one, click on the magnifying glass. You'll see they'll auto-populate all at once. Click on the magnifying glass for those, and then you could create a multiple treatise favorite. Again, anything you think of, you can have there. So we did source and some filter favorites. Huge time saver. You also see that it adds the table of contents as well as a way to do the search within. We looked at both of those. So your choice, whatever is your way to do research, you have that option or those options. So that's with favorites. One more thing with favorites. Let me clear this out. I have search everything, right? Let me do DUI, suspended license. home page, result page. Now let me start breaking down from here. Cases. Well, I only care about Montana, and I only care where I'm filing, say, district court. And we're in the first. So I started to break down, right? On this page, there's where the star is. Once you start combining filters, that makes sense. Your narrowing options, the ones that you do often, click on that star. Now you have not your terms, it doesn't save your terms, but all of your search criteria. Cases in Montana, first district, favorite. Now I no longer have to do that path ever again. I just click on the favorite. Does that make sense with the favorites? Do those. Those are time savers. You're going to see the star all over the system, just like you're going to see the alert bell all over. So this is a fun one. Montana District Court, first, with the terms DUI suspended license. Like I said, if you see that bell, that's the alert bell, then you can set an alert at that point. You're going to see it all over the system. What I'm doing right now, if I click on this bell, I'm getting a notification that could be sent email or online. That's how the alerts work. Okay. I'm getting a notification every time the terms DUI suspended license show up in the first district. I'll get to know that. Search alerts are very powerful. Do we get every single case on these products that are filed in the court? No. If it's unpublished, probably not going to be on there. So you're not getting everything, but everything that does come up, you'll get the alert. Now, if I was to actually do this alert, I would use terms and connectors and quotes, because I might get an alert with just suspended, you doing it like this. Because remember, or's in between each term behind the scenes, natural language. So if I really want to see every time DUI and suspended license shows up in a case in the first district, I would do just an and in between. Maybe put suspended license in quotes so it doesn't separate that. And then now click on the bell. If you're in a case, so City of Helena, you want to see all the cases that have cited to that document. In this case, none. But there might be one in the future. This is where the alert bell is for cases and codes. In your Shepherd's report to the right of the case or code title, name. And so what this alert is anytime a case, a code, secondary material, anything cites to my case, I get an alert. I'll know. Powerful stuff. Monitor. Maybe you only want to know when negative analysis happens to your document, or one particular legal issue within that document. Head note 1. There's no head notes in this case, but you can get very specific for what you want to monitor. What do you want to set the alert for? The big ones are these, your Shepherd's alerts. So that was brought up. If you want to track anytime something out there in the future cites to your case or code within a Shepherd's report. The other one is a search term alert. Put in search terms, narrow down to what's important to you, and then click on that bell. You have all kinds of other alerts, publication alerts if you want to know when something new is published in a source, topic alerts anytime something comes out on Native American law, new cases, you can get that. Water rights, it's endless. So just like with favorites, alerts, set those up. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. We can get those set up really quick. Folders. I'm going to end with history and folders, and then we'll open it up for a second. But history is 90 days of everything that you've done in terms of researching here. That's going to give you a daily look down to each document. So we could see, right, all these different days. What did I do on May 30th? These are the 10 documents that I looked at May 30th. And then I could break it down even further. What type of search was it? Was it a shepherd's report? I don't know. Break it down. Search within. I know it had something to do with DUI. Put that in the search within feature. Added technology that you can do these days. You guys will like this. Research map. Not only is it giving you the end one-by-one list of what you pulled, but it's showing you how you got there. I'm plugged into a projector here, so I can't fully show, but it shows you every step you took. I did this just now. License, then I narrowed to cases. There was that many. Then I narrowed to Montana. There was that many. District Court. I did all that. So not only are we saving everything you did for 90 days, but we're also saving every click that you do. Scary, huh? And so, here's the benefit. If I'm going back to a certain day where I know I had this really long search string, right? I went here and here and here. And then maybe I took a path that I shouldn't have. I just got off track. These cases or codes are no longer on point. You want to get back to that track. Any one of these pods that you see, or these icons, you could click on and rerun your search. That takes you to that day and that exact time of day, the exact second that you did that. Okay? Research map, I like a lot. That's a nice one. So list view within your history, research map, 90 days. You can do a lot more with that added technology. You can compare cases, find similar ones. You can compare searches and find similar. Check out the research map. Good stuff. Finally, folders. You want to save something more than 90 days. Maybe it's, excuse me, a case that you made notes on. Maybe it's just a document that you use often. You want access to it at your desk, on your phone, when you're in court. Save it in a folder. That saves under your Lexis cloud, per se. And just gives you access to all those documents. Example of folder. You can create as many folders as you want. A lot of people will do client folders, maybe not so much in government. You know, a case name, everything I do for that case, put in a folder. Or a topic folder, everything that I'm pulling together for this particular topic. If I do that over and over, it will help me access that material. How do I save something to a folder is next, right? Anytime you see the icon, click on it. And so, you will see your folder icon along with all your other delivery options up top, always. Not only just the top, but when you scroll down, added technology, it's always going to stay with you, which is nice. So maybe here, I want to select a few cases. I'll read them later. I'm just going to choose the folder, drop it in there. That's it. If you haven't made a folder yet, so that means it's not showing here because you haven't made one, choose new and make it. I don't want to spend our last minutes doing that, but you can get in there. It takes 2 seconds. Super simple. So, folder option right next to all your other delivery options. If you're in a case, Michigan, my home state, represent. If you're in a case, then up top here, folder. Right next to all the other ones. Email, print, download, Dropbox, printer friendly, etc. at the end of the time, but we started 1 minute late, so I'm just going to go over one more thing here. I have so much more to do, but all the good stuff can be done for another session. Now, new technology, right? Basic legal research, age of technology. This is a fun one. So, Shepard's report, always to the right of a document. That's how you find that analysis. We have to know if this is good law or not. Oftentimes, you see that red stop sign, and you think, well, I can't use this, right? Bad law. That's not always the case. It could be split of authority. Maybe it's a different jurisdiction where you're filing, so it doesn't matter. But generally, red stop sign, bad news. Well, this is a good example, one where that's not necessarily the case. And what we built within is a newer feature, reason for. That's going to give you the reason the editors picked that negative analysis. One click, right away, why is that there? So let's see. In terms of Head Note 8, particular legal issue, our case was overruled in part. Oh, we like that language. In part by Castro, and that's the language. We can get into it and dig deeper. But what that's pointing out is we can still use this case. Not for that part, but for other parts. You always had that available within your Shepard's report. Click on Shepardize. Always had that available. Again, break it down to the left. You're eventually going to get to that negative analysis. Or you can use, a graphical feature to get there. Right? Where was that negative analysis? And when was it? But it gives you one-click access there. All right, the fun is over for today. I only got through about half the things that I was supposed to, but I hope that was beneficial. You guys feel free to reach out anytime. There is a 24/7 customer support number that's available for support 24/7. I'll leave that up. So feel free to contact me or them or your local law library anytime. We're here to help. Thank you, guys. I'll stick around, too, if anyone wants to chat more.